Well, greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 205 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm Rick Verbanis. I'm your host, and I've got a co-host. His name is Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob, a man's got to know his limitations.
The truer words have never been spoken, Rick.
Yeah?
Is this are you pointing out some flaw in my co-hosting ability, or what's this all about?
Oh, well, wouldn't you like to know? No, no, no. Do you recognize the quote?
I don't.
Okay. It's from a Dirty Harry movie, Magnum
Ah,
Force.
okay. Magnum Force. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They did five Dirty Harry movies. Some rank Magnum Force as being the best. It was the
Yeah.
second of
Yeah.
the Dirty Harry movies. And that's a famous quote from the movie. A
Okay.
man's got to know his limitations. And you may be asking, well, why are you quoting Dirty Harry? I just thought that quote was apropos to today's story that we're covering,
Uh-huh.
which is Captain America 171, which is part two of The Secret Empire. And it just so happens that that movie was one of the top grossing movies of 1974, which is also the year that this story came out.
All right. Okay, that it makes sense. Did I ever tell you I know Clint Eastwood, Rick?
You did not.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know him, but I have seen him because I don't. I think I told you before that before I moved to Florida, I lived in a small community on the Monterey Peninsula called Pacific Grove. Tiny little place founded by Methodists as a alcohol-free sort of summer community for religious enthusiasts. They'd go out there for the Chautauqua lecture series, and they'd live in tents. And eventually, it turned into a small town, and it was a dry town, I think, up until the late 70s. But in any case, next door to Pacific Grove is Carmel by the Sea, and that's where Clint Eastwood lives. And he was a
Hmm.
mayor there for a while, owned a restaurant there for a long time. And if you go to Carmel, you would occasionally see Clint Eastwood, shuffling along. Of course, he's an older gentleman now, but I saw him on more than one occasion shuffling along in Carmel by the Sea. So nobody really pays any attention to him because he's sort of a fixture of the place at this point.
Gosh, how old is he now?
Oh, I don't know. I always look to see if that monkey was around, but I never saw the monkey.
Wasn't it orangutan?
Was it an orangutan? I guess maybe it was. Yeah, you're right. It was an orangutan. I
Okay,
should know that. Yeah.
yeah. Probably. Well, you probably saw the orangutan. You were like, "Where's the monkey?"
I was like, where's the chimp? And there it is. The
Yeah,
orangutan's right in front of me.
Bob. We're not off to a good start. I already goofed up. Magnum Force was not a top movie in 1974. It was 1973, which is
Oh,
when this comic. I was confused because today's comic has a cover date of March 1974, but actually came out in the end of November of 1973. So I got them a
yeah.
little jumbled up.
And
But this,
somebody would have called you out on that, Rick.
I know.
Called and left a comment on iTunes or
Man, speaking of being called out, you gotta love our listeners who go to the Facebook page and also who leave comments on was it YouTube or Spotify or whatever. So I got a comment on an episode that just came out. Now, we record these a little bit in advance, right? So the one that just came out was 203, which was the Curse of the Man thing. And Spotify will go ahead and title like chapters. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but like you can go onto our podcast and just kind of scroll and it'll tell you chapter two, whatever. Like, and it picks up on our words, right? So whatever we're saying, it will name that section. And
That's
so I was
dangerous.
doing birthdays and
Yeah.
I did Gene Colan and it it named that section of the episode Gene Colon, but it was Jean
Uh-huh.
Colon. And Brian Shulak called us out, and he was like, "It's Gene Colon, not Gene Colon." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you got
Oh,
me.
oh, the dang Terminator got us again.
Yeah, yeah. I had nothing to
Skynet
do
got
with
us again,
us."
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and also, we also got some comments about this in on the Facebook page, and so Tom Boyd comments because I mentioned in there that you Bob finally realizes Rick's pun on time capsule, and what word does Rick frequently mispronounce?
Yeah.
And so Tom is like, what word does Rick frequently mispronounce? If it's not animadium, I'll get my shorts because it's adamantium or whatever. I don't know how
Right.
you know.
That's I'm
So
saving that one for another day.
apparently Tom gets I get under his skin or something like that when I say antimanium. And then
And you don't want to mess with the supreme intelligence. He knows what he's talking
that's
about.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. He's going to be on an episode coming up with
Mhm.
actually, now I think about it, he's going to be on next week's episode.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in a minute. And
Mhm.
then Grant Ball, who a patron of the show and he's been on, he also uh referring to the word that Rick commonly mispronounces is I thought for sure the mispronounced word was going to be horror because my wife is also from New Jersey, so my ears are fine tuned to hearing horror.
Oh.
I don't think I say horror,
I'll be listening now.
right?
That one hasn't jumped out at me, but now I'll be listening for sure.
I mean, we all know it's Munster.
It's Munster. Yeah, like the cheese.
I am so glad though that you told me what the word was. You didn't leave me hanging. Oh, and then we also got a comment talking about your um not picking up over what 3 years of me saying time capsule. And
Yeah.
and uh and so James Foley was like, Bob, I love you, but sometimes I worry how many crayons you ate while you
Ah, yes, the famous crayon joke. Thank you, James.
yes. He says, I pray he's pulling her leg, but he's so convincing I am not sure.
Sometimes I convince myself. So yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
But anyway, those were comments on the most recent episode that hit. But we also got an Apple review, 5-star review. We love those. Shall I read this one, Bob?
Oh yes, please.
This one is from Loken Lysmith, and I'll have to get to that in a minute. But the title to his 5-star review is Cap Would Be Proud. I came for the J. Michael Straczynski interview. As a comic book creator myself, I am intensely interested in getting inside the head of other creators, but I stayed for the love of Captain America and the love for the medium in general. These gentlemen understand Cap in ways a lot of people miss. I'll definitely keep coming back.
Wow, that was nice.
Yeah, well, thank you, Loken. We appreciate that. Now, I was curious because he says he's a comic book creator himself, so I tried to look up his name, and I don't know if it's a pseudonym or if it's his handle, something else. The only other place I saw his name, this is going to be a little odd, but I saw his name show up, and you ever go to comicvine.com?
No.
Okay. It's a pretty cool site. It has a huge forum. And somebody will post, here's this issue, right? And then people will just start talking about it. So 15 years ago, Batman 687, uh, people were talking about it, and Loken Lysmith commented on it. So he's had his name for a while because this is like from 15 years ago, but anyway, like we appreciate
Hmm.
you taking the time to give us a 5-star review. Always appreciate it.
Yeah. And I love folks who want to get into the heads of creators, because that's what we're all about as well. Asking questions that maybe they haven't been asked before, and getting to know their motivations and their influences, and all those sorts of things that play out on the pages of Cap.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out um, last week's episode 204, we had writer Steve Orlando on the show, who wrote Curse of the Man Thing, and yeah, he was talking about getting in his head, and he was pretty revealing on a lot of fun stuff, and didn't know how much he loved Captain America as much as he did, so that was fun.
Turns out he didn't sing any songs in the '70s, so that was a little bit of a disappointment.
It's true. Birthdays. Let's see if Spotify can mess this up. If you are listening when this came out, this is about 5 days from now, is going to be Kurt Busiek's birthday on September 16th. And he, if you recall, wrote a volume of Avengers, which was drawn by George Perez. Great Avengers volume. Really enjoyed that. He certainly did get Cap. And then the next day, September 17th, woohoo, Roger Stern celebrating a birthday. And he didn't write as many issues as we all hoped he would back with the Stern Burn era.
But certainly, he defined a lot of what we know as Cap's backstory.
All right, Bob, should we get to today's issue?
Sure, that sounds like a good idea, Rick.
Okay. Well, we are covering part two of The Secret Empire. So if you haven't listened to the first part, it is, I wrote it down right here, episode 201. That's where we cover part one of The Secret Empire. And we're doing this long tail series where the second Wednesday of every month, we're going to cover The Secret Empire as that goes through. And then perhaps maybe we'll even continue it past that. But anyway, go back and listen to 201 if you haven't done that already. But for this one, as I mentioned before, the release date is November 27th, 1973, cover date March of 1974. And the creators. So the plot is by Steve Englehart. And then the script is by Mike Friedrich, penciled by Sal Buscema, inked by Vince Coletta, colorist Linda Lessman, letterer Art Simic, and editor Roy Thomas. Bob, I don't have a solicitation for you.
Oh, I so look forward to those.
I know, but maybe you could take the listeners through the cover, which is done by John Romita and also supported by Tony Mortellaro and Gasper Salanding.
All right. Well, I'm a big fan of this cover, Rick. I mean, it really jumps out at me, and I say that both literally and figuratively, because what we have here is a New York City skyline, and we're above the buildings, looking down on New York City, and we've got three heroes coming right at us. We have Cap right in the center, and he is looks like he's gunning for bear. He's got his shield up, and he's got his right fist clenched, and he's gritting his teeth, coming right at you. And over his right shoulder, we see the Falcon with his new wings flying onto the scene. And then over Cap's left shoulder, we see T'Challa, the Black Panther, leaping into action. And then, of course, behind the city, we've got the skyline. It's a bright yellow, so the three figures really pop against that background. And of course, the title is Captain America and the Falcon, and we've got some little notes on that cover to remind us that we're going to see Falcon's new dynamic wings, and this issue guest stars the Black Panther. So all in all, just a really dynamic cover that really sucks you in and makes you want to buy this issue.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I love the old style Captain America logo, the red, white, and blue. And as we mentioned before, this is actually Captain America and the Falcon. That's the official title. And 20 cents, Bob. 20 cents gets you this cover.
Man, I've been getting a little sentimental for the '70s, Rick. I grew up,
Yeah.
I always say I grew up in the '80s. And of course I did. I was in high school in the '80s. But if you're in high school in the early 80s, that means really, I mean, we grew up in the 70s, right? That's when we
Hmm.
were, in our formative years for the most part. And so I never really thought about that, but I've been thinking about that a lot lately, about some of the really great things about the 70s. And one of those things was a comic book for 20 cents for sure.
Yeah. What was some of the other great things,
Well,
Bob?
I love, a lot of the music. Of course, I had older brothers and sisters. I was the youngest of six. And so, a lot of those bands like Bread, you know,
Hmm.
I really love Bread and America. My brothers were really into them. Some of the early Elton John albums. My brother Paul had all those albums, so I used to sneak down into his bedroom. He lived down in the basement with my other brothers, and pop in his 8 tracks and listen to those. And so I don't know. I just get really sentimental when I think about the 70s. But for me, the late 70s was like the heyday of a lot of cap stories, and you could get those books for so cheap at the time. Of course, today, what are they, $3.99, $4.99 sometimes for the comics?
$5.99. Yeah.
$5.99. How do kids do it, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I was, looking at what I could do as far as a new greeting to you, right? I almost did in honor of Layla being freed in this issue. Spoiler alert. I almost did Elton John's "The Bitch Is Back." Uh, because that's from 1974. It was a
There you
top
go.
song. I was
There
like,
you
oh,
go.
this is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
a family
I
show.
was
Yeah.
and some of the things I was looking at great music, right, and
Yeah.
some cringy music too.
Yeah.
But I was looking at some of the titles to the songs that are eerily like other titles to other songs. So, um, here's a big hit during that 1974 was Billy, Don't Be a Hero.
Oh, love that song.
Yeah.
Love it. I
And
have it
then
saved on my computer.
also another big hit, Ricky, Don't Lose That Number.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little similarity there, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
How about Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO? You
Yeah.
ain't seen nothing yet,
Okay. Yep.
right? Or Stevie Wonder, you haven't done nothing. I'm like, I'm just seeing some similarities here.
Have I
But
ever told you
anyway,
about my penchant for Run Joey Run, David Geddes? I
yes,
love that song.
yes,
I have that one saved on my desktop as well as
yeah,
an
yeah.
MP3. So
Yeah. No, I listen, I was the youngest of five. So I grew up listening to my older siblings' music too. So a lot of 60s and 70s music growing up.
good stuff. Billy Jack movies, and come on, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops, I got to get my issue here. I also, and I brought this up in episode 201, but the price guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
For these books, roughly in the 20s, in near mint conditions. Not saying that's actual what people are going to pay for them, but that's what the price guide says, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, this particular issue shoots up to $55
Hmm.
because it's the first appearance of Falcon in his new uniform with his wings,
In
right?
action, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
In action,
Yeah.
right? We went through this whole Hulk
Yeah.
180, 181, what's the cameo, what's the first appearance of Wolverine?
Right.
I gotta tell you, I don't care what anybody says. The first appearance of Falcon in his uniform was 170.
Yeah. It's a big
And
ass splash page.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I would rather have that page than a page from this book, you know? Like that, because if I showed you that page,
Yeah.
I would be like, here's the first appearance. I mean, I own the art to the first appearance of Falcon and in with his wings,
Yeah.
and someone's gonna say to me, no, that's not the first
Yeah.
appearance.
Nice try. Nice try.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Come on. All right. Let's get to this. So we open up to the opening splash page, and the title to this one is Bob.
Bust out.
Cap's in jail and accused of murder. He's been set up, of course, by the malicious committee to regain America's principles, also known as Bob,
Crap.
and its super figurehead, Moonstone. And Cap's unable to prove his innocence. Suddenly, the jailhouse wall bursts into bits, and so that's what we're looking at, right? Cap is in uniform. He is standing in a jail cell with all of a sudden the wall caved in and smoke coming. And there's what, I don't know, a dozen garbed men here. And what are they wearing, Bob?
They do look a bit like Oompa Loompas from the remake with Johnny Depp a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they've got high boots with white pants that appear, at least for some of them, to be tucked into the boots. And then they have, let's be fair, it could be described as hot pink, but to me, it looks a bit like fuchsia. But they're long sleeve shirts with hoods that come up over maybe half head, right? So their
Are
faces
they
are
hoods or are they like helmets? I
like
mean, like,
they look like cowls. I guess they could be hard helmets, but they look like a t-shirt hoodie,
hmm.
So
Yeah,
um,
I mean, but they're stuck to their heads,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
They're
don't
tight,
move.
right? They're
Yeah.
tight. Yeah,
And there's one guy who's got a white stripe coming down over his head to signify, I guess, he's the
he's
leader.
he's in charge. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got.
yeah,
I got the stripe today, guys.
yeah. Come on, Cap. We're a supporter of yours. We're busting you out of this joint. Oh, great. If I go with them, I'll be breaking the law and virtually confirming the public's suspicions of me, which the committee is so actively aroused. But if I stay, Moonstone may never be exposed. And this is exactly how we left the last issue.
Mm-hmm.
And now, people, the fateful choice. We turn the page. What's Cap gonna do?
Ooh, it's he's betwixt and between. He's on
Yeah.
the horns of a dilemma. Right.
Uh thanks, fellows, but this just isn't the right way. I know things look bleak for me, but I must believe the due process of the law will eventually clear me. You're fooling yourself, Cap. These days you gotta stand up and blast 'em. Yeah, we're America's sanitation unit, and we know what's best. Nope. Sorry, I'm not so sure. Then, alerted by the overwhelming noise, there's oh gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 police officers, and they're wearing their blues, I guess is what they call them, right? And down to having uh the tie that's
Yep.
tucked
Yep.
into their halfway down their shirt, and their caps, right? That
And
have
their
the
and
little,
their white gloves. Maybe they were
yeah,
just doing some quick inspections.
I guess so. Must
Yeah.
have been. Yeah. Or they were in a parade nearby.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all have their billy clubs in their hands. And Bob, I can't help but notice there's not a lefty among them.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Hit 'em hard, guys. The jail guards. Don't worry, number 7. These rock blasters will take care of them. No, wait. You'll kill them. Stay back, Cap. Let us handle this. No way. And he flips the guys that were holding his arms and throws one into the other one, and it makes a loud noise, Bob.
Wow. Crump.
Did you see that? Cap tossed that guy across the cell and saved Manny's life. Yeah, and now he's fighting those jokers. I had a feeling Cap wasn't so bad. The plan's beginning to crumble. But unfortunately, the sanitation unit always has a ready cleanup gang. Gas 'em, boys! And then they fire these weird looking weapons that they hold with 2 hands and fire some sort of gas pellets, I'm assuming, because we don't see the pellets, but it has to be. And it makes a noise. Uh, the guards falling like flies as soon as this gas touches their skin. I'm stronger than they, but even I'm going under. Our uniforms and nose filters protected us, just as you said, number 4. Of course. Now let's get Cap out of here. Pronto. Aw, they're so nice.
They really are. Yeah.
We cut to the next page, and uh, Cap's like looks like he's laying down,
Mm-hmm.
right, on his back. It's blackness, but we see the word balloons that are floating over him, but words are coming in and out. So we don't get the full sentence because you could basically signifying that he's waking up. We sure up those, didn't we? Yeah, and 10 America doesn't our plan. Let's make sure it stays that way. Voices. Penn Street doesn't want any errors. I'm no longer in jail. And there's a shield next to me. But it can't be mine. Wait, what are those voices saying? Right, number one. But it ain't a laugh, though. When Cap wakes up, he's going to find himself even more discredited, never knowing we actually were working against him. Let's laugh later, number eight, after we made our anonymous phone call to the cops and then to the news media. Save your dime, Jack. The call's going to be delayed. And Cap gets up and he punches him. Impossible. Nobody recovers from that gas so quick. Ah! And he gets hit, Bob. He knocked out number four. Then to blazes with our orders. Cap ain't got long to live. Instinctively, Captain America crouches into the smallest possible target and whirls the shield into the front. Only then does he realize this is my shield. Its weight, its exact balance, its super resistance, they're all the same. That can only mean one thing. The last time I had my shield was when I battled Moonstone, and he felled me with his laser weapons. When I woke, I was behind bars, minus the shield, which means this so called sanitation unit is part of this conspiracy to discredit me. Moonstone, these scum, their boss Haterman, and his committee, all out to get me. The way is clear then. Captain America's fighting back. And he gives looks like a backhand. Makes a noise.
Boom.
And I'm turning the page, but it's a double page spread here of a any 15 records
Ooh, that's such a
for only a
deal.
dollar 97 or any 11 tapes for a dollar
Is
97.
that Columbia?
Columbia House.
Columbia House. Can't go wrong.
That's how they get you. All right, so in late 1973, you want to pick out a few titles to these
Oh
tapes?
yeah. Yeah.
These look like 8 tracks. Actually, all selections shown are available. 12-inch stereo records, 8
Ooh.
track cassettes, tape cassettes, and 7-inch reel to reel tapes.
Nice. Nice. For the discerning listener.
Yeah. Here we go. Miles Davis in concert.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Loretta Lynn, Entertainer of the Year. And Superfly soundtrack.
What you gonna do, sucker?
All right, getting back to the story. So then Cap's making short work of the sanitation crew, but he notices their leader, number four, appears to be up and about and showing a high tail, a profile which needs some distinct lowering. And he throws his shield and knocking him down, Bob. Okay, number zero. I heard something about Penn Street. Either you give me some facts or you're getting a one-way flight to Tucson without an airplane. Read me. 17. Oh. Blast. He was so panicked he passed out. I forgot that sometimes these goons think I mean those threats. Heck, I'm back at square one. Either I dump these clowns off at the police station, along with myself, or I track down a solid clue, which may ultimately clear me. But as Cap again reviews his alternatives, we journey about 8,000 kilometers south and east to the Nigerian capital of Lagos, where we pick up on the Falcon and the Black Panther, whom we last saw leaving the Panther's distant hidden kingdom, Wakanda. Now they stalk the dark streets, trying to solve the mysterious disappearance of the Falcon's lady, Layla. Suddenly,
Falcon's lady.
what?
I love the term the Falcon's lady.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. The next time I go to a social event with Casey, I'm going to be like, I'd like to introduce you to my lady. See how far that gets me.
It's like the Saturday Night Live skit. This is my lover.
Right. Yeah.
Suddenly, they are joined in the shadows by a swift, furtive figure. My chieftain? Yes, my subject. It is I. And that's how I want to refer to my wife when I go to the party. I'm going to be like,
Right.
yes, and this is my subject.
Yes. 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 Respect me.
Wakanda has maintained its unknown supremacy by the vigilant, secret monitoring of the outside world by selfless agents such as yourself. Now your king has a personal matter. Say no more, my chieftain. Though others may question you in these days, I remain loyal. Since your advance call, I have learned it is exiled American gangster Stoneface who has kidnapped the woman and killed her escorts. In this land, Stoneface's activities are like a bonfire on a dark plain. They easily draw one's attention. I think this was an interesting way for the writer to get the reader up to speed, right? Like in case you didn't read the last issue, you just kind of got up to speed on what was happening there. And he also explains it by saying, I know all this information thanks to your advance call,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
he pointed that out. Then where is this murderer? Across there, which is why I asked you to come to this specific place. I have personally seen the woman captive inside. She is yet unharmed, so I awaited your arrival for further orders. And then Falcon's like, that's simple, man. We're busting her out. You have done well, my subject. And the Falcon is correct also. We attack, my friend. Okay, brother, you take the low road while I show off my new glider wings. While inside, and this is a bit of writing I actually do appreciate.
I do. I enjoyed this as well. So I was looking forward to you reading it.
Witness a unique courting ritual. Stoneface has been lonely in exile and has become rather bullish on locating a back home woman. Finding one, he relates as he only knows how, bribing her favors with his valued jewels. To which the unimpressed Layla responds by suggesting another use for his gems, while alternately implying that Stoneface's personal resources aren't worth much to begin with. Thus spurned, this pitiful man answers on his only other level of communication, threatened violence. But before he can fully articulate his threats, a disruptive intrusion. Now, Bob, uh, this was a unique and interesting way
Uh-huh.
for the writer to, rather than have dialogue like going back and forth between these two.
Yeah.
I don't know why he chose to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to be poetic, or what, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know, it tickled me.
Yeah, he summarized it very succinctly in what, three panels, like this whole conversation of Stoneface trying to woo her with his gems, and she basically telling him she wasn't interested in his family jewels, and then wrapped it up pretty succinctly. So maybe it would have taken longer to do with dialogue bubbles, but it was cleverly written.
His family jewels. I like where she says, or he it says, um, by suggesting another use for his gems,
Yeah, exactly right.
right?
Yeah,
Basically, he can stick them
yeah,
somewhere,
right.
right? And then all alternately implying his personal resources aren't worth much to begin with. What do you think she said there? Like
Exactly right.
your cheap ass, whatever.
Well, Maybe his family jewels aren't particularly large.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And then crashing through the door, the Black Panther. How'd he know? Oof. And then there's a guy. So Black Panther takes out one, and there's another guy there firing, but Black Panther is kind of dodging the bullets. I can't get a beat on him. He keeps moving like a blasted cat. Then, as the Panther closes in, from the high windows, in crashes the Falcon, proud as an eagle with his mini jet tipped glider wings. But then he flounders like a fish out of water as not practice enough, lost the wind current, losing control. Look out, Panther, I'm. But the warning comes too late. What happens, Bob?
Well, I shouldn't say they crash into each other. Falcon crashes into the back of the Black Panther, knocking him down
And out.
and
Because
out.
apparently they've knocked each other out. And so I don't know how the Falcon got here either, but he's kindly knocked both of them out. Should we waste them, boss? For sure, but not here. I have a better idea. And then instantly in the next panel, they are now far, far away.
Far, far away. This is
Yeah.
this is. You remember the Incredibles, and Mr. Incredible talks about how the bad guys always get to dialoguing, right?
Yeah.
Monologuing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and then the hero eventually trips them up and catches them while they're busy monologuing their plans. This is like this. You could have just shot them. You
Yeah.
could have just offed them, right? But you had to have like this fantastic Doctor No plan of taking them someplace else and doing a dramatic killing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like when in episode 200 where we covered 400 and 401 and 400 Cap's fighting the villains and Viper's just like just shoot him. Yeah, he's going to get away. The longer you delay, the more chance he has to get just shoot him.
Just shoot them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here on the sea cliffs north of the city, they'll disappear without a trace. Now watch, woman, to what happens to those who cross Stoneface. Watch well. And Black Panther and Sam are awake and they're being held by goons behind them. Both the Panther and I could easily break these grips, but they've got a gun on Layla's head. With outward cool, but inward turmoil, the two heroes face a dizzying plunge of doom. Then it comes. One unresolved shove, bare instance of horrified helplessness, and then the Falcon follows. Die, you motherless cur. This revenge is sweet, so sweet. And they go over the cliff, Bob.
They do. Yes, they plunge over the cliff.
What did I say that made
No,
you
I
laugh?
loved it. You were so into that. I felt like I was in the moment. The way you said this revenge is so sweet. Oh, it was awesome.
Hey, I think even Morgan would have let you have your slice of the New York Rackets back upon hearing of you wiping off Falcon. What say, boss? Perhaps, my man, perhaps. But me and this woman have some unfinished business. Now that they're finished, let's go. And Layla's just got her head in her hands. But unseen, a major drama is taking place. Dig it?
Can you?
Why was that necessary?
Can you dig it? I think
I
you
mean,
can.
I are they just trying to like be hip here or something?
I think there's a little hipness going on here.
Yeah,
Friedrich,
yeah.
he's a hipster.
So Falcon is falling uh after Black Panther. Okay, brother Bird, you've only got seconds left. The Panther rigged these wings up with mini electronic gizmos direct to the brain. If I let loose enough, become one with the wind, while slipping the skull cells into gear, maybe I can get control. Maybe I can save the Panther. Maybe, maybe I can do it. But there's only seconds to go, Falcon. 6, 5, 4, 3. Your arm's going to be a bit sore, Brother Cat, but at least I'll still have one, Falcon. Thanks. And the Falcon grabs Black Panther. The triumph is obvious. The test of fire has been passed, but the imperatives of the moment remain. And Falcon's like, he's so happy he's cheering.
He is. He's like self cheering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yoo!
I did it.
Dig it.
And so, like soaring gull and climbing cougar, they rise. While now that's just some awkward writing right there. Uh, so like soaring gull, like it's almost like someone's name, like soaring gull and
Right.
climbing cougar. It's not like a soaring gull. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's like what they couldn't say like soaring falcon.
Yeah, right.
Is that too obvious?
Yeah. Somebody's going to nail you for this stone face. The Panther's an avenger, and Falk's been. Woman, you talk too much. Like I said, there ain't even a trace of him. How are they going to put it on me? No need, Stoneface. I'll do my own putting. Falcon. How the blazes? Don't sweat it, boss. Falcon may fly now, but he sure can't stop bullets. But then Black Panther comes up behind him and gives him a big old whooping.
Oh,
Oh, before I turn the page, Bob, here they have like the letters column, which is usually at the end, but they have it in the middle here, and it has a Marvel value stamp.
a Black Panther one.
I
Am I
know. How
correct? Yeah,
apropos is
it
that?
is. Yeah, cut that out, man.
I
That's a
really should. Hold
collectible.
on. Where's my.
Yeah, that's a collectible. You don't want to. You don't want to lose sight of that.
Remember when we had Roy Thomas on and he talked about how he was part of a book that collected all of
Oh
the
yeah,
Marvel stamps?
right.
Yeah, and he was like writing about the stamps and
Yeah,
the history behind stuff.
one of the most hated promotional things ever.
Not at the time.
No,
They
not
were
at the
really
time.
popular at the
They
time.
were. They were. Yeah.
Back when I had my comic book store, I had a customer who came in and he wanted to sell me a Hulk 181 and re- left out the fact that the stamp was missing. It was
Yes.
cut out. And
Yeah.
so I go through it and I look at it and I was like, oh man, I can't give you what you're looking for because the stamp's been cut out. And he was like, okay, that's fine. I don't need to do it. I have patience. That was 15 years ago. I don't know if he still has it or if he
Was he?
sold
Was he
it.
Kwai Chang Kang?
I
Who
don't
was
know.
this? You
He
know?
was like
Oh,
he kind of played the, like that was his negotiating ploy. He's like, I don't need to sell this. I have patience. I'm like,
okay.
okay,
You
all
came into
right.
my shop.
I mean, like, I gotta, I'm going to turn around. This isn't for me, right? Like, I'm going to have
Yeah.
to turn around and sell this and then
Yeah.
explain to people that the stamp's been cut out. And
Yeah.
then that's going to make it less desirable, which is
Yeah.
therefore the less price,
Yeah.
So.
It would have been more dramatic if he had just like sat down on the floor and said, I'll wait. I have patience. I'll wait.
You will do my price. I generally detest taking such mundane action, but mother necessity calls. And so you die, Avenger, and the Falcon is next. And so he has a gun, Stoneface, aimed at the back of Black Panther, but Falcon comes up behind him and knocks the gun out of his hand. No such action, rat. Seeing you've been messing with my lady, and nobody messes with the Falcon's lady. Nobody. And he slams him down. All clear, Layla? And he lands in front of Layla. Layla's digging this.
You can dig it.
Loud and clear, Falcon. That was the strongest show I've ever seen. You said, and now she's got her arms wrapped around him. You said you wanted something to match Captain America's new strength? Brother, you got it. And then some. Come here, lover. And Black Panther looks over top of, behind him, over the rocks. Who's that near the rocks? Another of Stoneface's gang. No, my exceptionally capable agent, who's obviously followed Stoneface's trail here. And so, gratefully leaving his agent with the final details of turning Stoneface over to the local law, the Panther returns home with his guests, where he shortly sees the couple off, his tribal troubles unshared, for they are only his, and thus he faces them alone. So they're going off in a Wakanda jet across the Atlantic to get back to New York. While aboard a more joyful aircraft, you got Falcon and Layla sitting in the back seat. Looks like I didn't bring home all the touristy trinkets after all. But Soul's truth, the man I'm bringing back is twice as impressive. And I love this. The I guess the pilot is like,
Yeah.
eyes front, warrior. Home already? Afraid so, foxy lady. Back to the blood, sweat, and smog. Yeah, but there's action on these streets, and that's what this lady lives for. Ha! Speaking of which, got any ideas for a cozy, warm, and dim lounge without any Wakanda observers? But later. I'm bursting at the seams to go show Cap my new wings. How about tonight? About 9. Okay? She agrees, of course, but we'll leave Layla's inner thoughts to another time. For this is the Falcon's moment, the winds of new freedom blowing through his hair, and flights of mind to match his wings. And there he goes flying off. Now, I just want to point out something.
Mhm.
In the course of 1, 2, 4 panels, we go from the cliffs looking over the ocean in Nigeria, in Lagos,
Mhm.
right? Next panel, in Wakanda.
Mhm.
Next panel, they're almost in America. Next panel, they're in America.
They're in New York. Yeah.
That's a lot to happen in those 4 panels.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, we turn the page, and Falcon is flying and landing down on the top of a building. And who's there, Bob?
Whee! Red Wing.
Yes. Although in this comic, it's Red Wing, because
That's right.
normally it's
Yeah.
spelled Red Wing with no space. It's just all one word. Howdy, Red Wing. Yep, you've got yourself a real flying partner this time. Hang on, buddy. I'll be right back. Cap's been staying here at my office since he was evicted from his own place. Hope he's in. And he's on the fire escape, opening up the window. But instead of Steve Rogers, Falk finds another guest in Sam Wilson's office. Who is it?
It's Iron Man.
And there's old Shellhead in his classic red and yellow armor, sitting in a chair, looking all comfortable. I'll be brief. The Golden Avenger's voice is machine cold as he recites the accusations against Cap, and the voice takes on a hard edge as he concludes. We Avengers know you primarily through reputation, Falcon, but Cap is as closely linked with you as he is with us, and this murder charge must be cleared up. So we felt it right you be responsible for his capture before we must hunt him down. Listen, Shellhead, I'm sure Cap's innocent. He's never murdered anyone. Give me just a couple of hours. I'm sure I can find him, and then we'll get quickly to the bottom of this bum rap. Come on, Red Wing. I've got a job for you.
Whee!
Their bond is almost uncanny, this man and this bird, but they understand each other. And so, Red Wing's found him already, in just minutes. Be seeing you, Iron Man, in the company of an innocent man. I am an innocent man. Did you think that too when you heard it
I
or read
didn't,
it?
but
No?
it makes perfect sense now.
Okay. I pray so, Falcon, and I wish you luck. This country can't afford to have a great symbol like Cap be destroyed. Why can't this country afford it at this particular time in this country's state, Bob?
Well, I mean, we just experienced Watergate. We got the whole Vietnam War, coming to close. Economy's going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, a lot going on at this time.
Yep. So then we cut to Cap, and he's in front of the building that he got that address from. So you opt to be a vigilante, Steve Rogers, and do what they accuse you of, taking the law into your own hands. You better be right, mister, or you'll never be able to live with yourself. 1701 Penn Street, the Quentin Company, strikes a chord somehow. Quentin. Quentin. Of course. Quentin Harderman, head of the What? And Cap turns, and who's he see?
It's his buddy, the Falcon.
Yeah, Cap. The Falcon's back, and you got him. Now, is this going to be cool, or do I have to face down my best friend? Turn the page. Cap's happy to see him. Sam, you're the best sight that these eyes have seen in days. And say, the additional threads look pretty snazzy. And I bet they have a purpose, huh? Steve, you're avoiding the issue. Oh, you've heard, huh? Yeah, I heard. The hard way. But I'm on your side, Cap. Start from the top. Well, you were still here when those ads started appearing, trying to discredit me. First newspapers, then television and radio. Finally, I investigated, ran in on Quentin Harderman, who's behind the whole scheme. He set me up, made me look responsible for the death of the tumbler when I barely touched him. Then suddenly this guy Moonstone appeared who walled the tar out of me. I woke up in jail and found out he and Hardeman are in the plot together. They arranged this phony jailbreak, but now I've got a thin chance to get through this nonsense, a weak link. Then let's break it, partner, right now. You've just sealed your own fate, Falcon. I just typed your words to show the world you Captain America's criminal accomplice. Who? And we turn we'll go to the next page, and who's that at the top of the building,
Oh
Bob?
man, it's Moonstone again.
Uh and for those who didn't listen to episode 201, Bob, what does Moonstone look like?
Well, he's a muscular dude, and he's big, right? And he's he's got an interesting set of attire, right? So it looks like some sort of armor, and it's blue, light blue, and it covers his torso, exposing his bare arms and bare shoulders. But he's got sort of purple leggings under the armor and a purple belt and purple wristbands that go
Now, I
around.
think the last time you didn't use the color purple, you said something else. What was it?
Did I? Lavender?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lavender. Let's be honest. So it's a lavender, and then he's got a helmet that covers 3/4 of his face, exposing just his mouth and chin. And again, it's this light blue with a sort of a lavender stripe from his nose up around the top of his head, and sort of the lenses where the eyes would be that probably provide some sort of capability. But he's a big guy, and in the middle of his chest, by the way, there's a yellow circle, which presumably is the moonstone.
Mm. Yeah, and he's got like this little bit of a mohawk going on the helmet, right?
Right, right, yeah.
I forgot. We've never met. I am Moonstone, Captain America's replacement. Cut the jive, mister. What's your game? You, Harderman, and the phony committee are in this together for some sinister reason. Admit it. Sure, the tape recorder's off now. I'll even admit I actually killed the tumbler. But why? The answer is clear as Hank Williams' guitar. For the power, for the bucks, and for the sheer joy of seeing you destroyed, Avenger. I've heard enough, and you could turn your recorder on again if you want, because the Falcon's proud to be Captain America's partner, and about to prove it. And he goes and he's flying up to the top of the building where Moonstone is. Wait, Falcon, he's more powerful than you think. That I am. Earth's gravity to me is like the moon's to a normal human. Leaping away from me, he can fly where I can really only glide. But my powers go beyond mere flight taking. That museum moon rock has imbued me with laser power. Laser.
Laser power. Yeah, that was big in 1974, the laser power.
That's true. Strong enough to disable the largest of flying birds. And he fires his laser at him, but it makes a gun noise.
Blam!
Is the falcon the largest of flying birds?
It's not.
I don't think it is.
No. Wouldn't that be the condor?
Could be.
Yeah, I think it's the
I mean,
condor.
I've seen turkey buzzards that are
Turkey
pretty
lizards are
darn.
big. I got those around here, but I do think the California condor is the largest,
Hmm.
or I think it's larger than the albatross. But I don't know.
Oh, that's always hanging over me.
Don't get me going on the albatross, Rick. I can talk for hours.
Albatross.
Yeah.
Albatross. That's another Mighty Python thing. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It is.
Falcon, he's been knocked out by Moonstone's blast. I've got to get under him. Try and cushion his fall. Hurry. Hurry. Got him. I can't tell if he's hurt badly, but I can't just leave him like this. Cap turns his attention away from me, leaving me a perfect opening, and so Moonstone strikes. And he comes behind him and lays his hands on his shoulders, zapping him, and Cap yells out in pain, Bob. And there's Falcon and Cap laying on the ground, beneath Moonstone's gaze. This is it. The final defeat of Captain America and the Falcon. Next ish, turnabout.
Wow. This is like the third time in 2 issues that Cap has been knocked out cold.
True. I thought he was supposed to be stronger, right?
Oh, my goodness. Woo!
All right, Bob. Overall, any thoughts on this particular issue of the overall story?
Just got one thing to say, Rick. I dig it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good story, right? It's fun. It's got a lot of action in it. I love the fact that went back and forth between Steve's activities in New York City and Falcon and Black Panther and Wakanda and Lagos, Nigeria, and then back to New York. So I mean, a lot of action going on, a lot of rough and tumble, um, uh, some crazy dialogue for sure. But it's nice to see Falcon and Cap come back together again, best buddies. It's like a buddy film. Like who doesn't like a
Mm-hmm.
buddy film?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the show for crying out loud,
I know,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. But a man's got to know his limitations. Right? And Falcon was
yeah,
learning his.
he sure did.
When he jumped off the cliff, he learned his limitations and he overcame it.
Yeah, it's like how that's how a lot of birds learn to fly, right? Mom, dad knocks them the fledglings out of the nest.
That's like
Figure it out.
was it season 2 of The Boys?
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Homelander, right?
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, you go first. What is your favorite panel?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to go with. I think it was page 2, Rick. At least illustration
Oh,
wise. Ooh, so you were gonna like you
no,
like the
just
the
sorry.
the WAP panel. It's the bottom left panel. It's Cap. It says no way, and
Uh-huh.
he hits one of those sanitation committee guys so hard that he flies through the air. You only see the top half of his torso upside down as
Yeah,
he's flying away. I love this little panel. I think it's a lot of fun,
it's a good
and
one.
yeah, a lot of there's like bodies flying all around Cap. He's making such short order of them.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. Good
All
one.
right. And what about yourself?
You're gonna love this one.
All right.
I am picking in the comic that I have in my hand, it's page 14,
Mm-hmm.
third panel, and it's the one where Layla is yelling at Stoneface, and it says, to which the unimpressed Layla responds by suggesting another use for his gems. while alternatively implying that Stoneface's personal resources aren't worth much to begin with.
Yeah.
That is my favorite panel.
It's a good panel. Yeah, the
It really
dialogue makes
is.
it happen. The fierce look on her face, the way that
Yeah.
she's been rendered there is,
And
and I
and
love.
and and the guy in the background, he's just like, "What did you just say to Stoneface?"
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, he's like standing up, like ready to grab her because you can't believe what she's saying to him. Yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
That's good. What about your T-shirt worthy, Rick?
T-shirt, Bob, is it says page 7. It's the fifth actual page, and that is the bottom panel where he gives the back fist,
Mm-hmm.
knocking the guy, and he
Sure.
says, "The way is clear then. Captain America's fighting back." And he has a shield and he gives the back fist. And on top of that, it says "Foom," right? Which
Yeah.
is isn't that a Marvel
Right.
magazine, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I think that's a kind of like a nice little plug for Foom in there as well. And I think that would look cool on a t-shirt.
All right. Good choice. Good choice.
How about you?
I'm gonna go with when Falcon jumped off that cliff
Yeah.
and he's fallen and fallen and fallen. It's that bottom left panel, Rick, where he finally becomes upright again as he swoops into the gliding phase and he says, "I can do it."
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I don't have any Falcon t-shirts, and I was thinking as I was reading this issue, like I got to get myself a Falcon t-shirt. I don't even know if there's any available out there. I might have to have one custom made or something. But I think that'd be cool to have a Falcon t-shirt. Maybe a
I think
Cap and Falcon t-shirt.
I like that. I do.
Something vintage looking.
No, no, totally. I think it's a good one. It's a good
Yeah.
choice. I personally I think I would like a Falcon t-shirt and also in this uniform, right?
Yeah.
Because but I probably would go with like Mike Zeck, you know.
Yeah.
Um
I
but
understand.
but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And what about your time capsule?
Oh, I got it that time. I got it. I got it. You know what, Rick? I got to go with the cover.
Okay,
I got
that's
to go with the
fair.
cover because I think this is the first time that Falcon and Black Panther, the two Marvel first black superheroes, are on the cover together.
Ooh, I like that. That's definitely time capsule worthy.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it was really like yeah, we talked a bit about it, what was going on in 1974, but it was a tough time in terms of civil rights, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot going on at that time, including in my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts, where they had started desegregating schools and using forced busing. So there was a lot of racial tension in the United States at this time in 1974, and so putting Falcon and Black Panther front and center with Cap on this cover was a very bold statement. And glad Marvel did it, but so definitely time capsule worthy.
Yeah. No, I ooh, good choice. I like that a lot. Yeah. I didn't even consider it, but for all the reasons you said, totally deserves to be there. Makes my choice seem kind of rather wah, wah.
What's in your time capsule?
Did you really honestly not catch
Had
that
no
all this
idea.
time?
Didn't know.
You just
Didn't.
thought I was mispronouncing it?
No, I just thought it was a capsule, time capsule. I
Yeah, but
didn't.
I always did time
Uh,
capsule.
you're from New Jersey, a little
I am not
variations
from
in.
New Jersey,
I
first
know,
of
I know,
all.
but like variations in dialect. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
I
So
just
that gets a complete
that gets a pass.
ignoring, but Munster does not.
No, because I always like picture like Herman Munster.
Uh,
You know.
you know what would be really cool is if the Munster was laced with antimanium.
To me.
Wouldn't
Right.
wouldn't that be a horror?
Tom's head just exploded. So
You didn't
oh,
catch I said, wouldn't that be a
a
horror?
horror.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My time capsule is going to be the second to last page, third panel, where Moonstone says, "The answer is clear as Hank Williams
Mm,
guitar."
all right.
Hank
Yeah.
Williams Sr., that
Yeah.
is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 For sure.
yeah, back in 1973. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Hey, good looking. but at this point, I think Hank Williams had been dead for 20 years.
Yeah, he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I,
So
I did. I looked that up.
you did?
Yeah,
Nice. All
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Hank William Jr. would have been like 15 or something at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I read this, I wondered to myself if like Friedrich it was just a
Wait a
Hank
minute.
Williams fan.
That made no sense. How could Hank Williams Sr. be dead 20 years and Hank Williams Jr. be 15?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
he
totally
died in
got
1953.
I did look up something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, anyway, better not to ask too many questions. But I just thought it was
Yeah.
like odd that like he plucked that one, like a 20-year-old
Hmm.
year old singer, as a cultural reference.
Yeah.
So
I guess
must have been a fan.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like Mark Grunwald putting talking heads and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fan.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, Bob, I did mention this before, but very excited. We are going to have not only Tom Boyd next episode, but we're also going to have Matthew Super Glover here. And we haven't had him on the show in a while, but the two of them are coming on because it's time, Bob, for the third Captain America comic book fantasy draft.
Yeah, I can't believe a third one already. It's not even third annual, Rick. I feel like we just had one maybe what 4 or 5 months ago.
We did. We did. We had Grant Ball and Mark Domeyer on back in April. Because it was around the NFL draft. So we thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a fantasy draft around then? So that was episode 185. And then, yeah, so this is fantasy football time. And so we're going to be doing the fantasy draft. And I have to say, um, we got a really cool logo to support it. I put this out there to the Facebook group, and we got a few different people who sent in some um, different styles of the logo. So Tom Boyd had sent a few versions. Blake Griffin sent some, and then we went with Wes Smith. Wes is the person we're going to use the logo. So check back next episode for that because it's pretty cool the way it works out. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to that. I was on vacation last week. Not only was I preparing for my fantasy football draft, which, by the way, is a few days from now in our time,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to be doing this. We're going to have it on. I'm the commissioner of the league, and so I'm hosting a fantasy draft barbecue in my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So having that over. So not only have I been preparing for that, but
Wow.
I also, while on vacation, was preparing for next week's Captain America
Interesting.
fantasy draft.
Interesting. I have to say, I didn't give it a thought while I was traveling over the last week. But as soon as I came home, I got a strong. I bought some bourbon when I was in Vermont from Smuggler's Notch Distillery, and it's maple infused bourbon because, of course, it's from Vermont. So I came home, poured myself a big old glass of maple bourbon, and Eureka! You're not going to see this one coming, Rick.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've liked your two stories so far. I mean, Nick Fury's,
The Fury Files, yeah,
Fury Files. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. By the way, I I did make the caveat
Mm-hmm.
for this one. It's Steve Rogers
Mm-hmm.
as the Captain
Oh,
America.
sure,
So
sure it
all right,
is. Okay,
that
all
we're all
right.
using Steve
Oh, yeah,
Rogers.
we are.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't mean I'm still not going to find a loophole, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a great story, so
I can't wait for it.
yeah, I think
All
you'll
right.
appreciate it. May not win, but I know you're going to appreciate it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, we're just
That's
having
all that
fun.
matters. Just having
Yeah.
fun with it. Yeah. All right. So everybody come back next episode where you're going to get Bob, me, and a couple other guys who are going to go through 8 rounds picking characters in a draft format.
I'm curious to see what our guests come up with.
Yeah, me too. All right. He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis. And please, if you get a chance, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And we love 5-star reviews on Apple. As you can see, we also love the comments on Spotify, YouTube, and the Facebook page. And maybe we will share your comments here. As always, thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.